This is Don Conklin with Pinnacle Custom Signs. We're here today to talk about signs of the world, specifically monument and marquee signs, and how the outdoor sign can work for you. First of all, let's talk about the types of monument signs. And when I'm talking about monument signs, we're talking about those signs that are on the side of the road. Side of the road that looks out at the road, has business names on it, subdivision signs, but there's different types of monument signs. So, first of all, there's a single tenant sign. If you have a building and you're the single tenant in that building, be it a retail space, a food space, or some other space, then you can put up a monument sign that has just your name on it or a single tenant name on it. Then there's multiple tenant signs. You see these mainly at shopping centers. Think about a Publix or a Kroger shopping center where you have the big Kroger sign or Publix sign at the top of that sign. And then you have multiple tenants below it for the individual people who rent the spaces in that shopping center. They want recognition and visibility for their name as well. There's also residential monument signs, subdivisions. Every subdivision that you see, most subdivisions that you see, will have a monument sign out front saying the name of that subdivision, Shady Oaks or Mulberry Station or something like that. But it's key for marking that residential property. And then there are lighted versus unlighted signs. Unlighted signs versus lighted signs, it depends on the preference and the visibility. As you probably would recognize, most residential signs are not lighted. Sometimes they'll have landscaping lights indirectly lighting the sign, but most residential signs are not going to be lighted signs. Most multiple tenant signs will be lighted sign because the property manager of that complex would like to have as much visibility for its customers, its paying tenants, as it possibly can. Single tenant, totally a preference issue. If its business is only open during the day and they don't want the expense of a lighted sign, they may go with an unlighted sign for a single tenant. Who uses monument signs? Shopping centers. We were talking about shopping centers. So property managers who manage shopping centers, they want to make sure that as they negotiate leases that they have an opportunity to put that business's name and brand on a marquee sign in that main monument sign closer to the road. That gives that customer more visibility, and with the more visibility, the business will then have a better opportunity for generating business, staying in that space, continuing on with its lease in that space. So shopping centers and shopper center managers are key to using monument signs. Standalone businesses use monument signs all the time. It gives them an opportunity to have more visibility for their business, to brand their business once more, to say, hey, this is Conklin Incorporated. We are here. So that you see that a lot with standalone buildings as well. Subdivision signs. Subdivision signs also, as we talked about earlier, most subdivisions brand themselves with a sign that says whatever the name of the subdivision is. And lastly, we see a lot of churches using monument signs to show people who they are, what their name is, what their times of worship are, things like that on what you see on church signs. Why use monument signs? First of all, identification is key. You want to identify who you are. Who you are from that standpoint. That's very important. Next would be branding. So you see branding happening all the time. So not only are you identifying yourself, you're putting your brand out there. We have one customer that we work with all the time. It's called Work at Any Time. Their logo is a 24/7 circle, and they want to make sure that that logo, along with the name Work at Any Time, appears everywhere they possibly can. So that includes branding it on monument signs. Safety as well. You wouldn't think about this, but most monument signs you see out there have the address of the property on it. That's so that first responders, fire, police, rescue will know the address of that building and not have to look at the building to figure out what the address is. So you see monument signs all the time incorporate that little aspect of safety as well. What types of materials are used for monument signs? One type of material we see all the time is stone. Will be it brick, be it stack stone, be it some sort of other type of stone, but it adds a nice look to it. a nice feel to it, and most customers would take a look at it and say, I'd like some stone on my sign. You can also go the foam route. Now, we use a process that can make any type of sign, any look of sign, out of foam and have it formed that way. The foam could actually look like brick. It could actually look like stone. It can look like stucco. But we've made some fairly large signs out of foam, and the cost of the foam versus the cost of stone is about 25% less. So you can get a much bigger sign for the same cost as if you use stone. The other type of foam that we use is what we call high density urethane, or HDU. HDU is a panel that out of that panel you route either the company's name or the subdivision name, and you paint it, and then that HDU panel fits onto or into the monument sign that you've either built out of stone or foam. And also aluminum. When you're looking at a lighted sign, an internally lighted sign, we use aluminum boxes to do that. Whether it's just a plain light box or pushed through acrylic, aluminum is used all the time. When we do use an aluminum sign, though, we typically place that aluminum sign on a base made of either stone or foam. There are some restrictions to be careful about. Jurisdictional restrictions and regulations from your city, your county, your state. So, for example, in the county of Gwinnett here in Georgia, for you to have a monument sign, you have to have a stone or brick base. There's no exceptions to that. So no matter what you're doing from a design standpoint, you need to make sure that you have that restriction, and also that it's 15 feet back from the right-of-way. So that's a couple of examples. In Beaufort, the maximum height of a monument sign is 8 feet. So you see all these different types of restrictions and regulations from the individual jurisdictions. Then you have the builders out there, the builders who are building subdivisions, building shopping centers, building individual buildings. They have a restriction as to how they want the sign to look, so it kind of lines up with the look and feel of what they're doing. And then lastly, you have structural issues relative to how much wind load it can have, how big it can be, how far back from the road it can be. So there's some structural issues that restrict the sign itself. The good news is most sign professionals, sign company professionals, will know about these restrictions and regulations, municipality and county by municipality and county, and by employing one of them, they can help walk you through the process so you don't have to figure all this information out on your own. How do monument signs help drive business? Well, first of all, it drives traffic. People see that sign on the side of the road and say, hey, I want to go eat there, I want to go shop there, I want to go meet the people there. So it does drive traffic to the business. It enhances visibility. Not only do you have a sign on the building, but now you have a sign on the street. So you have the name of the business, the name of the company, more than one place from a visibility standpoint. And it's eye-catching. If you design a monument sign the right way, it can look really cool and catch someone's eye, so it's just not a piece of stone sitting there with just a name on it. So if it's designed correctly, a good monument sign will do all three of these things: drive traffic, enhance visibility, and be eye-catching. For more information on monument signs, you can go to our website at pinnaclecustomsigns.com. On there we have a section of our website with photos that will show you all the monument signs that are possible. Thank you very much for listening today.